What's up, guys? Keyshawn here, back at you with another new O10 Universe What If. And I have an announcement to make. This is going to be a 18 plus 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 plus. Because why I'm doing all these pluses, it's going to be for a reason. Now, this is an idea I gave to a partner, well, to a friend, a colleague, you could say, a good friend that we was talking and stuff. You could say me and another YouTuber was cooperating and stuff, but this is an idea I wanted to do on my own. Well, this is an idea I gave to him, but I wanted to do on my channel too. But this I should give you the warning before we get this started. So let me give you the warning. Caution: this will contain blood, gore, possibly rape, sex, uh, unhumane sex, detailed massacre, and everything else that's unholy, you could say. Now, if you is, like I said, a holy person, you do religion, you pray to God and Jesus, and you despise rapists, murderers, and all that stuff, this video is not going to be for you, because this is going to be, you could say, the most darkest forbidden what if that I ever did on this channel. So if you still here ready to watch this stuff I'm about to tell you and see what would happen in this what if, take a seat and let's see how this goes. But this is going to be what if Naruto got the Galaxy Gauntlets. Now, I'm going to explain what is the Galaxy Gauntlets and pretty much continue with the story. So the Galaxy Gauntlets is pretty much an idea I made, and also it was just an idea, you could say a new what if I want to, put outside the box. Now, the Galaxy Gauntlets is basically this gauntlets that have multiple souls in it, and the user basically have the powers of those souls, but basically the user will lose control. Basically, you could say it's a powerful weapon, but it also have its drawbacks. As if the user switched the color to a different color, they will have that ability, but the soul will take over, and they will not have their body. And that person who switched that color will, fight. But I will tell you as the story goes on. But let's go. So we start off with Kishon. As you know, we start off with Kill. Kill is basically bored out of his mind, and he wants to create something that's, you could say, quite exciting and quite disturbing, you could say. Now, this is where he creates a new universe, or a new world, you could say. And he begins to smile and says, well, I kind of want to give him a gift, and throws down the Galaxy Gauntlets to the earth. Now, we search for Naruto, and we're going to make Naruto, 16. A little bit of a 16. Because we're going to have the age limit to old enough to have sex and stuff. And pretty much, Naruto is, you could say, done after getting beat up and rejected by girls. Rejected by a girl and stuff. And we're going to say everybody hates him. Everybody. Hinata. She has a liking to Naruto, tiny bit, only 1%, but she hates him too, because she, you could say, followed the path of everybody. And Naruto is pretty much walking out the village and pretty much, looking up in the sky and crying. Crying because this world did him dirty. You could say did him dirty and did him wrong. Now this is where the gauntlets crash down. Or you could say floating them. Now, this is where Naruto looks. He begins to reach out for him and touch him. Now, the gauntlets, you could say, is that of you can eat food with them and stuff, but you can't take them off. But they will suit you as you fit. Now, as Naruto touches them, they begins to lock on and fuse with him permanently, so he can't ever take them off. Now, before you do it, Naruto realized that he have the gauntlet. Now he's looking at the powers and he's seeing all the abilities. He sees, and these are, well, colors have names. Purple is for Roxas. White is for Victor, or light, you could say. Um, Blue, you could say icy blue is for Victor. Red, red is for Flo, Flo. Um, yellow, yellow is also for Proctus, and purple is for Void because Void is a crazy one, and it kills whatever he wants to do and does whatever he wants. And then the last one is combined with all the colors, and it creates kind of a rainbow color. But this, you could say, color thing has no name, but it's extremely intelligent and powerful once all the colors are mined because all the souls are fused together, including Naruto's. But let's continue. Pretty much, Naruto is looking at all of them, and this is where he sees, you could say, the ice one. Now, this is where he, you could say, mess around with it and touches, well, activates it, and his souls change. Naruto is pretty much, you could say, in a coma state that pretty much out since he pressed. Now, this is where the ice one is, ice one, you know what? We're gonna call him Ice. We're gonna call him Icy. We're gonna change the blue ice one name into Icy. And pretty much he takes over the body. Now, Icy begins to change the hair color, and his skin is a little bit, tiny bit of a turn into pale blue. But this is where he looks around and says, "Huh, where am I? And what is this body?" Well, he doesn't know that he has someone else's body, but he's pretty much looking and saying, "Huh, this place is weird." Now, this is where a couple, you could say, wrote a couple of well, a couple kids begins to look, and they look at, you could say, this person. Now, this is not Naruto because, like I said, the hair color has changed and the skin is a little bit blue. It's not, and the eyes is different. Now, this is where they begin to look, and they're not saying anything. They're just looking at it. Now, this is where Ice looks at them and says, "What are y'all? What are y'all looking at, nerds?" And begins to walk. Now, as Ice begins to head back to the village, this is where Ice is, you could say, constantly looking around and stuff, saying, "This village is pretty nice and stuff." And you could say a couple of villagers is looking at Ice. Now, this is where Kill begins to say, "This is kind of getting boring. Let's add in the salt a little." And he summons, or you could say he summons down angels and begins to create well, begins to have demons to come and attack the Leaf Village. Now, this is where the 18 part get out of hand and shit begins to get real. Oh, and I should probably tell you Naruto's mom alive, but not Minato. So, yeah. So, this is where shit gets real. So, demons and angels begins to have all out war in Leaf Village. Out of you could say nowhere. Which you could say villagers are dying, some getting their guts ripped out. Angels is flashing light, but since they can't get the villagers out, some of them are getting hit. People are just screaming everywhere. There's just chaos is happening. Now, this is where Naruto, you could say, gets control back of his body. Well, this is where Ice, gets out and Naruto wakes up. He wakes up seeing the village getting destroyed. Now, he's confused and you could say possibly a little bit scared, saying what the hell's going on, seeing demons and stuff. And Angels is basically stepping in and fighting. Now, this is where Naruto begins to see Sakura in trouble, and she's pretty much stuck with the demons. Well, demons having her. This is where Naruto runs and begins to try to save her. This is where when the demons punch Naruto in the rib and pretty much send him flying. Now, Naruto hits the wall, pretty much crashing out and about to get back up to, we're gonna say, a bird demon. holds him down. Now, as Naruto sees Sakura pretty much vulnerable, this is where the demons begins to rip off Sakura clothes. Now, this is where two of the demons begins to penetrate Sakura in the butt into the vagina. Now, they're going in and out, back and forth and stuff, and Sakura is screaming and asking for help. Anyone, please help her. And Naruto's trying his best to try to help her. This is where Naruto begins to cry, and this is where the demons, you could say, begins to bust a nut and begins to leave her on the floor, and a couple more demons is about to come in. You could say a whole round of demons is about to, you could say, do the whole doing thing to Sakura. Now, this is where Naruto, all his emotions tap in, and this is where all the souls combine and creates the last one with the rainbows. Now, this is where Naruto, well, not Naruto, or this being begins to get up and says, I can't, and begins to create rainbow light explosions everywhere. And it's killing demons. He's killing demons left and right. And he's walking very slow, holding his head, and he's like, his head is hurting because his head is very hurting because he's very intelligent, and his mind, and plus the souls combined and the power, his body is not ready for it. So as he keeps throwing explosions and stuff, and holding his one hand and just throwing explosions left and right, he's thinking and saying, "If only I was strong in the possibilities, I could have saved it from," and just doing all the explosions and killing demons and stuff. Now this is where he knees down and begins to cry and falls and passes. This is where Naruto passes out. Now this is where the last couple of demons, you could say, after they're done doing their raping and killing and all that stuff, and also fighting with angels, they begin to leave because there are a few of them. So they begin to leave. Now, this is where the angels, you could say a couple of the angels, begins to leave and stuff. Now, the black winged angels was there too, but they was just looking. They're pretty much seeing how the fight would go. And they pretty much head back. They pretty much go head back. Now, this is where Naruto begins to wake up in the hospital infirmary, and this is where you could say Hiruzen asks if Naruto's okay, which Naruto begins to get up and start to cry and say, I wasn't strong enough to save Sakura," which Hiruzen says, "Oh, Sakura, well, she's okay, but she's traumatized after what happened to her," which Naruto begins to sure tiny bit of tears, but he gets up from bed and he says he's going. Now this is where Hiruzen says he has to take a rest, and begins to ask Naruto some questions of where he got the gauntlet from and how did he activate that Schmidt's power, which Naruto is telling him that he doesn't know. He doesn't know how he did it. Now, this is where Naruto's mom comes in, Kushina, and begins to hug her son. You could say begins to hug her son. Now, as Naruto is, you could say, staying at the hospital, this is where Kushina begins to. This is another 18 part, so if you don't like any incest stuff, I recommend getting out the kitchen. Get the fuck out the kitchen because shit's about to get spicy in here. As you could say, Kushina begins to wake up Naruto, and Naruto begins to about to say, "Yeah, mom," until she kisses him. Now, Naruto's confused about this and trying to figure out what the hell's going on and about to put back his mom. But this is where she hops on top of Naruto, and Naruto begins to, you could say, his emotion begins to switch out, and he begins to turn into the person again with the question marks. Now, as that person takes over Naruto's blood, it begins to, you could say, have sex in the bed. Now, Naruto's grabs Kuchina's, you could say, titties, and squeezing them and rubbing them, and he begins to pull down his pants and put his penis in the vagina. Now, he's going in and out. this, you could say, the ultimate being goes in and out, and this is where he done nuts, which Naruto is there too. Like I said, all the souls combined, but this is where done nuts in Kushina. Now, the next day, Naruto pretty much wakes up and he pretty much remembers the whole experience and just says, "I can't believe I just did it with my own mom," which Kushina pretty much is saying, "Well, good morning, sleepyhead," and pretty much kisses him on the lips. And pretty much says, "Make sure to come home. I'm going to cook some your Ichikan ramen that you like," which Naruto says, "Yeah," and he pretty much gets up and says, "I can't believe I just done that." Now, this is where you could say the Hiruzen is in this office and pretty much telling, well, you could say telling the shinobis and stuff to make sure to repair the village and stuff and see if anyone's still, like, you could say traumatized and stuff, and make sure everything's alright. Now, this is where the villagers are all blaming Naruto for the whole incident that's happened. Pretty much they're all blaming him, like saying that he was the cause of this village since he's the knight, since he's the demon fox and stuff, and pretty much, saying that all this happened because of him, which is not his fault. No, Naruto begins to get upset and just says, "It wasn't me. It's not even my fault. I don't know what those things are and stuff." Which this is where they're saying they're not hearing it, and they begin to grab their stuff and weapons and all that, saying, "Get the hell out of our village, get the hell out of our village and stuff." And this is where Naruto says, "All right," and just begins to leave. Now, this is where Kushina is trying to stop her son, and Naruto says no and begins to walk out the village. Now, this is where you could say Naruto leaves the village, and doesn't return. Well, begins to leave the village, which all the villagers are happy that he's out. Now, this is where Hiruzen gets mad at everybody, saying, "What the hell is wrong with y'all?" And they're pretty much all of them are looking, saying, "Hokage?" And Hiruzen saying, "That's the nine tail. That's a Biju weapon. That's the nine tails. If he leaves, then we're gonna be defenseless, and every village is going to attack us." Which this is where they're horrified, because they realize something. Because if because we're gonna say the villagers are stupid, but not that stupid, and they know if you don't have a bijou in your village, is pretty much you're asking to get clapped, and it can get clapped from behind without protection, you could say. Now, this is where Hiruzen begins to go get Naruto. You could say go get Naruto for instance, and you'll try to get him back. This is where Naruto is almost far until we're gonna say an Archangel comes. Well, a Black Archangel, you could say. Now, this is where they come and says, Naruto. Is that so? You are Naruto, which Naruto is pretty much getting into you kind of say a fighting stance of saying, "Who are you?" Now, this is where the Archangel begins to smile and says, "Oh, I'm not here to fight you. We kind of want to welcome you into a family, make you like us." Which Naruto is saying, "Huh, make you like you? Yes. You see, we don't like demons and we despise them. But we know we can't reach up to heaven. Maybe you can be the key to help us reach back to our heaven and this earth to be with God again," which is where Naruto's confused next, who is God and all that. Now, the Black Angel is, talking to Naruto and explaining to him like the whole thing, the situation, and all that stuff. In which Naruto says, "I guess I don't live at the village anymore, so might as well." Now, this is where the Black Angels, you could say, or the Archangels, begins to take. Actually, no, not Archangel, a Black Angel I mean, they're called Archangels, so. But pretty much they take Naruto to their place, and it begins to, you could say, give him a power up. Now Naruto begins to wake back up, and he pretty much sprout out, you could say, two wings, but they're opposite, a white wing and a black wing, which they kind of wanted to see if he'd be the one, like, to survive the test to have two wings. Now, Naruto's looking and saying, "What happened? What did you do?" Which they're saying, "Success. You are you are a black angel and an angel combined." Which this is where they see a halo, a form up atop Naruto's head, and it's a broken halo. Not it's like a you could say golden ring halo, but the other halo is like broken. So it's only like a half halo. Now, as Naruto begins to sit down and talk to them, they begin to say like, "You're like family like us. We won't leave you. We won't abandon you. And if you go somewhere, we're all going together, just in case." Which Naruto, in his first time in his life, actually feels like he's at a at a place, like happy. Now, as Naruto begins to sit with them and talk and have a laughter and stuff, um, this is where the you could say Omni and stuff is still looking for Naruto and trying to get him back before anything else can happen. Now, we're going to switch to demons, and the demons are pretty much smiling and saying that was a tasty, that was a good battle, a tasty fight we had. Those angels, those angels were something, but those humans. And one of the demons begins to lick their tongue, lick their mouth, and saying, "Yes, especially that girl with the pink hair. She was something." Now, they're basically talking about them, you could say, butt raping and vagina raping Sakura. Now, and if you're asking, does the demons look like demon monsters from Berserker or like that? Nah, they look like humans, but just kind of not. They have red skin and horns, but they have a human-like body experience. But yeah, they pretty much have sharp teeth and stuff, and eyes, black eyes, and horns. And some of them have opposite cross on their forehead, but that's like the higher general demons and stuff. Which I'm gonna get back to the story. Basically, the higher up general demon is basically saying, you know, she was a she was a good fucking partner for me. I kind of want to make her my bride. And which one of the demons are saying, what, that whore, that girl with the pink hair, which the general smacks the demon in the face, pretty much breaking his jaw, saying, say that, say it rude again, say that rude. Say that rule about my wife again, and I shall end your heart. Which demons are pretty much quiet, saying, "Ooh, my bad. I didn't know he was a sensitive type." Now, this is where we're going to switch to Leaf Village and all the people. Now, Kiba, Broccoli, and Shikamaru, they're going to check up on Sakura, and you could say Sasuke, he's doing his own thing, pretty much training and stuff because he's training his hardest because we're gonna say Sasuke had a fight with one of the demons, and they pretty much clapped him. They pretty much just, punched him pretty badly. Now, Sasuke is pretty much training his hardest and stuff, and trying to get his, strength and stuff. This is where he begins to hit the ground and says, "Damn it, how am I supposed to get strong, get powerful?" Now, this is where we're going to go with Ares, the god of war. He begins to appear in front of Sasuke. Now, I know what you're thinking. We have gods in this too? Yeah, well, fuck it, might as well. Pretty much, Ares comes to Sasuke and pretty much says, Sasuke, Uchiha, the last of your Uchihas. And he says, "What's it to you?" Which Ares begins to laugh his ass off, saying, You dare talk to a god like me, especially with your weakened stake like that? Which this is where Naruto Sasuke begins to get mad and fire a fireball at Ares, which it doesn't work on him. It's not gonna work on him. And Ares pretty much this dispouts and says, "Come on, you really think that's gonna work on me?" And he runs at, which Sasuke runs out and begins to try to throw punches, but it's not working. Ares grabs his face and slams him to the ground. Now Sasuke he's pretty much, crying, which Ares says, "I'll come back when you're more better as a man," and disappears. Now we switch back to Naruto, and Naruto begins to head out after having a talk with the Archangels and the Black Angels, and you know train them as family. This is where one of the uncles finds Naruto and begins to talk to him because Naruto doesn't have chakra no more. His chakra is been gone. The moment the you could say the angelic grace and all that was attached on him, the chakra kind of is you could say merged together with the angelic grace, especially with the galaxy gauntlets because they're fused on the chakra too. So it's kind of merged as a you could say hybrid combination. So no Amu can like sense his chakra or trying to find him with the sensory because the chakra is kind of not chakra, but it is. So it's yeah, but yeah, pretty much Naruto begins to head out, and this is where the Amu's, you know, luckily spotted Naruto. Now they begins to ask Naruto to come back, which Naruto is saying, "Why should I come back?" And he sprout wings and the halo, which this is where the Archangels begins to come and says, and pretty much begins to say, he's ours, you humans, or you could say, you humans." Which this is where they're basically asking for Naruto to please come back. Which Naruto is saying, "Why should I come back to a village that hates me?" Which this is where Hiruzen shows up himself, saying, "Naruto, I'm so sorry for all the for the for the couple of years that you had to grow and experience the village hating you, and I have been so touched in love. If you come back to the village, I promise you, no one will ever try to attack you or hate you again, and the village will love you. And if they don't, then I will forcibly make them by my own will to bow down to you." Now, Naruto begins to, get shocked by this, but begins to think and says, "Alright, I guess I come back." Now, this is where Naruto says, "But the Archangels, they're coming with me. They're going to be staying with me in the village," which Hiruzen begins to, you could say, shiver, but says, "Yeah." Now, they're all heading back to the village and stuff, and everybody's quiet when Naruto comes in. Because Naruto, he he's pretty much different, you could say. His hair is a little bit of white and black in the middle of two separate sides of white and black, due to the angel, and black angel DNA. And he also has a crossing ring on the side of the black, just to control his power because it's kind of overwhelming for him. Now he begins to walk and everybody's looking at him. Everybody's looking at him and stuff because he has two different eyes. One is black and one is pure white. Now the villagers are quiet and his kind of accent is that Naruto for real. And Hiruzen is pretty much saying we have our Jinchuriki back, which everybody's everybody's quiet, but it oh begins to get excited and stuff. Now Naruto and Black Angels begins to go head back to the house, which this is where I mean this is where Naruto tells the Black Angels to go look around and go see the scene and make sure to just come back to the house. You know where he's at, which they Black Angels begins to somehow says yeah, and they begins to start flying, showing their wings, and people was like shocked that they're flying. Now this is where Naruto heads back to his house and his mom Kushina runs in and begins to kiss Naruto. It says, like, and begins to say, "I'm glad that you're back, Naruto. I don't know if I would do without you," but Naruto says, "There, mother." Now, this is where you could say Naruto begins to talk to his mom with black angels, the black angels, and they begin to have a conversation and stuff and all that. Which this is where they're talking about the whole plan of finding more to recruit more black angels and to have, you could say, an army to destroy the demons once and for all, or to pretty much reach up to trying to have enough, you could say, willpower to break through the heaven's gates. Ew, sorry, but pretty much, yeah. Naruto is listening to him and saying, "All right," and they begin to relax. Now the next day, Hiruzen is basically talking to Naruto, saying that he pretty much does an automatic pass, so he doesn't have to do the test or get set back. And no one doesn't steal the scroll because the scroll is not what you could say. Like the scroll was never taken because Mitsuki got clapped in that verge attack of demons and stuff. Like a lot of demons, and like shit happened at that, including rape. So yeah, pretty much Naruto heads in the classroom and he begins to take a seat, which everybody looks at him and because Naruto looks so different, but he looks, you could say, angelic, like he's wizenary, like and powerful, and people just want to, you could say, compensate with him. Now, Naruto begins to sit down and begins to open up a book and read because we're gonna say his intelligence got a little bit much higher due to that. Whew. Now, this is where Ruka is signing teams, and all the teams are pretty much the same. But this is where, Sakura, she's a little bit downsided, like looking down and stuff, because, like I said, her whole butt and vagina raping experience, so she's a little bit not the same. But this is where they call out the teams, and this is where they say Naruto, Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruna, which, Sakura is scared because, she still believes that the rumor that Naruto caused all that stuff, including the demon attack, because of his 9 tails of powers and stuff, we'll just say that. And, she's terrified of Naruto. Now, as they're all going to their separate rooms to meet their instructors, this is where Naruto begins to walk up to Sasuke and says, "Hello, Sasuke. I'm Naruto. We haven't meet proper." Which Sasuke begins to says, and looks at Naruto. Now, Naruto begins to, try to make conversation with Sasuke until Sakura gets up and says, "Get away from him, you damn 9 tails, you damn 9 tails, fox." Which this is where Naruto looks at her and says, "So you're like those heretics who judge and thinks that I caused that attack." And she pretty much is, saying it's all because of you that I got, which Naruto looks at her and says, "Rape, rape multiple times without delay. Listen, I was trying to help you, but no one didn't tell you that I was trying to help you. I don't know. I wasn't in time to save you. I'm sorry, but I was really trying to help you. So don't try to blame me and say that I was the cause of your experience." Which she begins to cry, very emotional. Which Naruto begins to walk up to her and hugs her and say he's so sorry that he couldn't save her. Now, this is where Kakashi comes in, and this Kakashi is a little bit different because, dude, everything's going to be much different. But this is where Kakashi comes in and he looks at the team, and he looks at, you could say, definitely Sakura, that because, yeah, she's one of the victims, and begins to say, Now he tells everybody to meet up at the rooftop, and you could say everything goes insane, but Sakura is kind of different. Her goal is to get strong, so she won't ever feel that experience again. Which Sasuke is really the same. And Naruto, his is much different. He says his whole name. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like I like to eat ramen. I like to fight, see many things, and also I want to reach up to the heavens and break the gates so we can destroy those things. Which Kakashi is confused about what's those things, but more likely he says, "Alright." No, he explains the bell test tomorrow, and no one doesn't eat, or they're gonna puke, which you could say everybody just walks away. Now, as everybody's walking and stuff, this is where Naruto heads home. But before he heads home, Sasuke pretty much asks Naruto, looks at Naruto, which Naruto responds and says, "Would you like to come to my house and have some ramen with me?" Which Sasuke says, "Yeah." And Sakura, when Naruto looks at Sakura, Sakura pretty much walks away and starts to head home. Now, Sakura lives by herself because her family got killed in the process, so in that whole attack, so yeah, she has no family. So she lost two things. Now, as she's heading home and heads in her house, this is where you could say one of the general demons that was a part of that experience of the thing begins to says, "So you're finally home, my wife." And Sakura begins to get scared. Now, she begins to try to, head you or trying to head out or trying to escape. So the general demon says, "Please don't make this harder than it looks. Please come sit beside me. You are my bride after all." Which she is afraid of dying, so she goes and sits beside him. Now, this is where the demon is talking to, well, the general demon begins to talk to her, and begins to say, "So I realize that we haven't been on the right feet after, well, I did to you. I want to introduce you myself, and and you could say even out the ice of this relationship." Which Sakura, she's shedding tears and scared out her mind. Now, this is where he's basically saying, "My name is Aragdal. Eh, I kind of didn't want that name, but I got it." Now, Sakura is pretty much, saying, and pretty much says her name, and they pretty much have a conversation. Now, this is where the general demon is saying, "I came here because I want you to be my bride. I mean, something about you and just the way is." And he begins to sniff her and licks her face, side of her face, and you could say biting, you could say doing a little bite on her ear, saying, "Something about you just makes me go wild." Now, this is where she's scared and afraid that it's going to happen again. Until he pretty much gets up and says, "Well, I better be heading back to the pack, but I will come back for you. You will be my bride." And begins to leave. Now, she begins to cry even harder and laying on the couch, is shaking and crying. Now, the next day, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura is together, and this is where Kakashi's, comes much earlier because they don't want another attack has happened. They train their ninjas to prepare for war just in case anything happened. And he begins to say, "Alright, is everybody ready?" Which Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura says, "Yeah." And Kakashi definitely looks at Sakura and says, "Sakura, if you're not ready to do this, just make sure to take a seat and just let them do it. Let these two do it, and you can get a pass by punching over them." Which Sakura gets mad and says, "I can do it." Now, this is what he says. "Get ready, set, go." And everybody begins to head out. Now, Naruto, he's pretty much, you could say, makes a chair appear and begins to sit on the chair. And he begins to say, "Huh, so, who's going to attack first?" Which Kakashi is saying, "Well, I'm not." I'm reading a book. And this is what Naruto says. Alright. He grabs a chair and throws it at Kakashi. Now, this is where Kakashi, you could say, slides under the chair. Dunks over the chair, and Naruto pretty much appears and uppercuts him up on a tree, sending him flying up in the air. Now, this is where Naruto pretty much smiles and says, "Now, Sasuke," and Sasuke fires 3 fireballs at Kakashi. Now, Kakashi, you could say, subjects out of there and pretty much lands at somewhere else, which Naruto, which, you could say Sakura is at the same area where Kakashi spawned at, and pretty much punched Kakashi in the gut, sending him a little bit flying, out, which this is where Naruto sprouts out his wings. Sprouts out one of his wings, and begins to fly, pick up Kakashi and slam, you could say do a tornado and slams Kakashi down to the ground, pretty much knocking him out. Now, Naruto grabs 2 bells, and he splits one in half and gives one to Sakura. And Kakashi pretty much is waking up saying they're pretty much past, which Naruto walks up to Kakashi and begins to heal him, which he says, "Thank you." Now, they do a couple missions and stuff, and this is where Sasuke gets bored, gets angry and says he wants a higher mission. He begins to go to Hiruzen and demands for a higher mission, which Hiruzen smiles and says okay. Because Hiruzen's not going to say no or say they're not ready, because, like I said, he wants them to be at their top condition ever since that whole attack. Now, this is where the bridge burner comes in. Who's in? Shikaku, Tazuna. Yes, Tazuna comes in, and he begins to look at the team. Now, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Got the Galaxy Gauntlets. If you like, leave a like, comment that you enjoy this and stuff. And shouts out for the sex scene for Naruto and Kushina. I will put his name later down in the descriptions, but shouts out to him. But yeah, if you want a part 2 of this unholy, forbidden What If, please leave a like, get this up to 20 likes, and I'll do another part. And also, I'll do it. But Keisha Chia, thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.